Welcome to the launch party of our new book, Amazon Web Services in Action. My name is Andreas.
And my name is Michael.
And this is one of the first times that we are doing a live show together, Michael. I'm really excited about that. And we have a big reason to celebrate. So finally, our book, Amazon Web Services in Action, the third edition, and here it is, has been released, and we are celebrating this together with you. So in the next half hour, we will give you a behind-the-scenes look into writing this book or other books as well. You might learn from that. We give you, of course, a sneak peek into the chapters of the book, what's in this book. And then, of course, special thing is we will raffle signed copies of our books to you that have joined the live stream with us. So stay tuned for that.
All right. So, Andreas, let me start with a quick history lesson about the book. So it all started in 2015. So this is 8 years ago with the first edition. And then we had a second edition in 2018, and now it's 2023, and we have the third edition. Yeah, so those are all these books. And Andreas, we also have a couple of translations, right?
Yeah. So I found this one in my bookshelf. So this is Amazon Web Services Japanese.
Yes, and we have Portuguese edition, and I think there are a couple of other languages available.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. The book is really sold more than 30,000 times, the first and the second edition combined. So that's very exciting and definitely more than we expected, Andreas, and also more than our publisher expected, I guess. So that's really cool. So thank you very much for all of that, like buying the book and reading it, obviously. So it's very funny when people just run into us at conferences and tell us that they like the book and things like that. So that's really cool. So yeah, that's the history lesson. I'm done, Andreas.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, and we will, I'd like to start at the very beginnings, the raffle of the book. So we are raffling signed copies of our book. We will send them to the winners. And I will now paste a link to a form where you can leave your name and your email address so that we can later raffle the book among all those who participate in that. So check that out and be sure to partition in that. Okay, Michael. So what is in Amazon Web Services, the third edition?
Yeah, let me quickly copy the link to LinkedIn. Sorry, I'm a little bit late.
Yeah.
So sorry for that. I was just updating the LinkedIn stream as well. Okay, so we have a couple of chapters in the book. And the good news, 18 chapters. Yeah, that's correct. And this is 2 more chapters than before. So we have new chapters. The first new chapter is about how to automate your deployment. And this is actually a rewrite. So we had a chapter about this before, but we completely changed it. So we now use a more modern approach to rolling out the changes using, I think this is a chapter that you wrote, Andreas. It includes a Packer, it includes a code deploy, and it also includes a little bit of CloudFormation, which is, of course, included in all of the book. And we have a whole new chapter about containers. So this was chapter 18, and we had thought about this in the second edition as well. But we now, I think we found a good approach to include it because we only have one chapter and it's such a broad topic. We managed to do it so that you have something to actually run at the end of the chapter. Also a couple of approaches. So we have Fargate and App Runner in there, basically. So you have a very low effort version, and you have a little bit more enhanced version of running your containers. So that's the new chapters. And besides that, the book is structured into 4 parts. And the first part is about getting started. So this is about where you get your ADOS account from. This is like setting up an example application. I think it's the hello world of cloud computing. It's a WordPress application that you just spin up with the help of CloudFormation. You set up a very complex infrastructure within minutes. And this is kind of the motivation to read the rest of the book, to understand what's actually going on there. And this is then followed in part 2, Andreas, so you can maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the part 2 is about the cloud infrastructure, so the very basics of cloud infrastructure. So this is then, of course, of EC2, so virtual machines, the VPC, how to configure that. Then it is about IAM, and access management. And so those are the fundamentals that you really need to get started on AWS. So this is the infrastructure services. And besides EC2, there's also a small chapter about Lambda. And this is not about writing applications with Lambda, but it's how to use Lambda to automate tasks when administrating AWS accounts. So this is going in this direction, because there are a lot of other books out there going into the application development with Lambda. And so Danilo, for example, has a good book about that, published by Manning as well. So if you're interested in that, you should check this out. Okay, so Michael, then the next chapter is about storing data. So what is in there?
So the storage part includes all the popular and kind of general purpose storage services. It starts with S3. We also have EBS in there, where we also go into the details. Same for S3. So we have some performance stuff in there, some tips and tricks. The same for EBS. So there are different volume types. So you can choose from, and what are the benefits and what are the options for your application. So some discussions around that. Of course, we have examples like where you can get your hands on the technology. Then we have EFS. So this is the distributed file system from AWS. And then it gets more into the databases section. So we have RDS that covers all the relational databases. And we have Elasticache, and we also have MemoryDB in there since this edition, the new edition, we added that. Or to be honest, Andreas added that. So this was your chapter, Andreas. And also we have DynamoDB, where we have an example how to use the database and some basic queries and insert, update, delete operation stuff. So that's all in the storage chapter. And then I think my favorite part, Andreas, is what you are going to introduce. This is part 4. This is basically where we kind of mix everything together. This is where the architecture really begins.
Yeah, so this is about architecting on AWS. So this is really how you build a highly available, fault-tolerant, scalable system on AWS. It's about all those building blocks that you need. So of course, this includes the availability zones. It includes CloudWatch for monitoring, also autoscaling. It's autoscaling itself, so adding roof EC2 instances on demand. And it's then the elastic load balancing, so as you have the serving request. And we have an application for having in the course as little as hardware before dinner for each and then it's
all about writing because it's you think it's so
users and also having things to graphics or get the content of the part about architecture is also including a chapter about how to deploy your application on machines. It is completely rewritten and now includes code deploy. So for those who use EC2 instances that keep running and you want just to replace the current version of your application. And we have another approach with Packer, where you basically build an AMI and then roll that out with a rolling update orchestrated by CloudFormation and the autoscaling group. So this is what we have in this new or rewritten chapter. And Michael, so maybe you can close it up with, so what is the overall concept behind the book besides the the AWS services that we are covering?
Yeah. So while you read through the book and while you follow the examples, you will naturally learn about CloudFormation. So this is the infrastructure as code service that we use. So this is we don't have our approach is that basically while you'll read through the book, you always use CloudFormation, and this is how you learn it. We also have some introduction into it, of course, at the beginning of the book. But once you process in the book, you will use more and more CloudFormation, and at the end of the book, it's only CloudFormation, so there's no more clicking in the UI. And we also have a focus on security. So all the examples that we have, for example, follow the least privilege principle. So this covers networking configuration as well as the IAM configuration. So we don't have a chapter about, okay, you should really do least privilege principle. We have that, of course, as well in the book, but we also show you how that looks like in the real world. And we think that this is more important than writing a book about the least privilege principle is cool, but showing you how that actually looks in a template is actually more powerful. We also have a little bit of CLI and SDK in the book. So we use the automated approach whenever possible. And basically at the beginning of the book, there is more clicking, and then a couple of chapters in the book, you will not click much around in the UI anymore, except for looking at what actually was created. So this is all kind of overall idea of the book. So yeah, Andreas, that's it from what's actually inside the book. So if you are interested in any of these topics, there's definitely a chance to get the book into your hands now. So we have this raffle going on, and we will make sure that you see the link once again. So there's still some time to add your email address there, and at the end of the show here, we will just pick randomly the winners, and we will make sure to send you this book and to your location.
Yeah, so I've just pasted the link to the raffle form another time, so fill that out to make sure you participate in that. So Michael, the importance, so why did we pick today as the launch party day? Because we have been writing this book for a long time, and it has been started as a MEEP, early access program and so on. But today is the day where Amazon.com starts selling AWS in Action, the 3rd edition. So you should be sometime during this day, you should be available on Amazon.com. It is, of course, also already available on Manning.com. This is our publisher. You can order it from there as well. Depending on your location, it might be it might be better for you to order from Amazon.com or from Manning, depending on the shipping fees and so on. So check both offerings out.
And there's, of course, the ebook as well. So,
yes.
I mean, if you don't want to pay for shipping, then just go for the ebook. That is definitely an option as well. And the ebook is created with a lot of care as well. So I checked it on my Kindle. It is really good to read. The code examples look nice. So it's, I mean, the publisher knows what they are doing. So they sell those books all day, and they have some experience in that. So you can definitely read the book on an e-reader. So that's really an option as well. Okay, Andreas, I will go on with what you could actually do for us, like the listeners or the people on the stream, because we need your help actually. So there are a couple of things that you could do for us, except for reading the book, which would be cool as well. If you buy it through Amazon.com or Amazon in your country. And if you have some time to write a honest review about the book, this is really the most helpful thing for us to do, because as we all know, a lot of stuff is sold on Amazon, and the more ratings you have, the better your position is in the search results, and this will naturally convert into more books sold. So if you have some nice words to say about the book, or if you learn something through reading the book, then write a review. We will really appreciate that. That would be really cool. You can, of course, tell others about the book, like your coworkers, for example. So if you buy the book, just like once you're done, feel free to give it someone else to read. So this is also really cool. And of course, you can help us a little bit by sharing the launch on social media as well. So there will be some posts on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Mastodon, and wherever you find this stuff. So just hit the retweet or the reshare button or whatever it's called in the social media platform of choice. So that would be really cool for us if you could boost us a little bit here.
Yeah, thanks for that. And so the next thing, Michael, is I think we should share a little bit about behind the scenes of writing a book. So what it is like to write a new book. or like we have done now, write the second edition of an existing book. So how does that process feel like? So maybe you are interested in writing a book, and then we are happy to share our insights into how this all works. So Michael mentioned that so it's the third edition. So that means we have 2 editions out there already. And in 2022, we decided to do another edition, so to rework the book. And to be honest, we already knew that this is a lot of work to do, right, Michael? So of course, we have been doing it with the second edition. And basically what you have to do is you need to go through all the chapters and rewrite them or update them. And the thing is, most examples have been broken, so we use a lot of open source tools, applications to showcase how to deploy things on AWS. And many of them are no longer maintained, or you have to find alternatives or update them to the latest versions and so on. So this is a lot of work. So we have been going through every chapter and make sure that all the examples are working, of course. And then the second thing, as you all know, AWS is changing. So they release new features, they fix things that have been an issue in the past and are now no longer a thing. So for example, a few things. So Michael, I remember one thing, S3, for example. In the past, there has been that problem that there was no read after write consistency. This was a known issue, and you had to be aware of that. And we talked about it in the books. Nowadays, this is completely gone. This is no longer existent. So we have that read after write consistency on S3 for all conditions now. And then, for example, EBS, there are new volume types available with different characteristics and way they operate and so on. So there's really a lot of things that are changing with RDS as well. So basically every chapter needs to be updated in a significant way. Yeah, so this was really a lot of work.
Yeah, that's right, Andreas. So one thing, like if you have any questions about writing a book, feel free to send them over to us, and we will basically the one that's not talking will just have a look at the chat, and so we can collect those questions as well. So that's what we did. What's the effort to update a chapter? So the funny thing is that I would say it's less effort than writing a completely new chapter, but it's a lot of effort, because you go through the chapter and sometimes the changes that AWS made just don't work for the structure of the chapter anymore. So you basically rewrite the whole thing, because now for EC2, for example, there are so many instance types, you cannot really write about all of them anymore. So you need to group them a little bit. And so this is, sometimes the challenge. And so balance all this new information and restructure it so that it still works with the example as well. And do we need a new example? Things like that. We also changed the format that we write the book in. So before it was a very, I don't remember the name, but it was a XML based format. So this was very clumsy. So we were literally typing XML in our code editor, which is not too cool, I would say. And now we switched to, in the third edition, which is now supported by Manning, we switched to ASCII doc. So it's not really Markdown, but if you're familiar with Markdown, it's kind of similar. So you have a little bit better support in your editor. There's also plugins for IntelliJ, so you see what you actually type, like how it will look in the end. So this was a big change for us at the beginning. And there's also the way the book is kind of versioned is it lives in GitLab. So Manning has a GitLab instance. There's all the code stored and all the manuscript as well. And for example, if Andreas updates a chapter, he opens a pull request, so I can review that, and I might create a new pull request onto his pull request with my changes, and then he can merge them, and we can have a discussion about that. And later, when Manning goes through the book, which they do as well, they will do the same approach. They will open a pull request, we will double check all that stuff, and we may have some comments or not, and then just this whole thing is merged. So it's really a very slick process these days, I would say. So this was, I think, much better than at the beginning, where we started with the XML approach. So this was always PDFs going through, to us. Then we sent them back with comments in them, and then, it was a little bit hard to kind of keep track of everything. And we also had, which we really appreciate and which we also value, is the MEEP process at Manning. So this basically means we started selling the book, the third edition, which is now available, in April 2022. So some of you might already bought the book 8 months back when there was just, I think, 4 or 5 chapters already. So like the rest was the old book, and then there were a couple of chapters updated. And then once we continued in updating all the chapters, a new version was released. So all the people interested in the MeEP received an email with the new version, so they could just download the latest file and then go through the new chapters. So this is really cool because we basically start collecting feedback in April or May, where the first comments were coming in on the forum at Manning, which is really nice because you can kind of comment in the book, and then we can have a discussion there, or we just say, okay, we will fix that. It depends always on the kind of issue that was found.
I think one important challenge when writing a book is, at least when you write about a topic like AWS, you have so many things to say. So there are endless possibilities. So first of all, getting the TOC started, so what should be included is difficult. And then when you write a chapter, you could add many, many details, but you don't have hundreds of pages to explain EC2, for example. So you have to really think about what's the most important things, and which you should know when you get started. How do you explain pitfalls and stuff like that, but not too many. So this is really hard to find the right balance, I think. So this was always a struggle that we had, to not include too much information, but still have enough information in there that it's still relevant and you get a lot of it from reading it. And so I thought this is what we always try to achieve, to have also our own insights in the book. So it's more than just basically a copy of the AWS documentation. It includes our learnings from using AWS in real-world projects out there, operating our own services or building stuff for consulting clients. And so this is then condensed into the book. And of course, we cannot include everything. So we got some feedback, or you do not include machine learning, you do not include analytics. Yes, we do not do that because we decided not to include that in the book, because we're not too familiar with those services, but also because it's not in the scope of what we decided should be in this book. That should help you to get started with AWS, to get a feeling for how things are working. I think it's a very good foundation for working with AWS, even if you work with completely different services in the end.
Yeah, and I think that's really an important point, because all the services that we write about are actually in use by us. I mean, there are more services that we use, but those are definitely services that we use. We have them running all day, but we interact with them regularly while updating our stuff. We learn what's going wrong there and things like that. And this really helps you to better understand the topic, of course. And this is also what creates the value for the readers, because they don't have to learn all of that themselves. So, Andreas, I think it's time for picking some winners, or what's the response so far to the
I think we need
raffle.
to do that now. Yeah. So Thanks a lot for participating in the raffle. I will now run our algorithm that picks the winners for our book, to make sure that we're sending them out to people out there.
And the algorithm is actually just randomly picking the people. So
no, it's complex algorithm in my keyboard, right? So I'm blindly picking the people from the list here. Okay. So let's go through the list. So here are the winners.
How many winners do we have, Andreas?
So I have a bunch. So let's see. So this is Amazon Web Service in Action, the 3rd edition, and all of you who I'm reading out loud are getting a signed copy sent to you. So we'll get in contact with you afterwards via email and make sure this ships to you. Okay, so first one is Mateusz. Second one is Oriol. Then we have Anderson, Mirza, Ben, Anu, Christoph, Kevin, Lucian.
Okay, so that's 8 people, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we have 8 winners. So you are very lucky to receive the book.
Yeah.
We will reach out to you and send you an email, and we need your shipping address. Yes. And then you will receive it in the next.
We have to sign all of those, Michael.
Oh yes, we have to sign.
So this is how to do for. Okay. Yeah, thank you very, very much for joining our launch party. It was a pleasure. We are really excited about. So I think this is really the best moment of the process, when you hold the printed copy in your hands. Thanks for celebrating this together with us. Spread the word about AWS in Action. Leave a review on Amazon.com or Manning if you can. That would help a lot. And we are congratulations to the winners of the raffle.
Yes.
And yeah, this was really cool. Thanks a lot for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to the Cloudonaut YouTube channel or Cloudonaut podcast for the upcoming shows. Yeah, thank you very, very much. This was very cool. Thank you.
I think that's it. Yeah. Thanks for watching. So this was really cool. Thanks for participating. So this is really why you write this book. I mean, the honest truth is it's a lot of pain to write it, and once it's done, it's really cool. So we are very happy with it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a great day, all of you.
Yeah. Bye.